Good morning all. Today is Friday, it's the 8th of May and welcome to Sarah's Way of Life. So today I'm going to be talking about how and when I grow my food and the principles that I use. I use the principles of the laws of nature, which in modern times, relatively modern times, is known as biodynamic gardening. But actually it's as old as time itself, and it's how everyone used to grow their food because they were totally aligned with the land and with the laws of nature. So I'm talking about growing with the cosmos, growing in alignment with the moon rhythms, the lunar rhythms, the sun, the constellations, and so much more. And of course, when I say growing with the moon, we all know why. The moon has a massive effect on the waters of our being and of Earth. I don't need to even explain that much more, especially to those of you who are watching this or who've been watching this channel for a while, because as women we know our cycle, our monthly cycle, is all based on a 28-day cycle and is affected by the moon and the rhythms of the water, the sea, the tidal waves. So without going too much into that, and I'd love to delve into water because I'm learning so much more about it in the last 2 or 3 years. Some hugely inspiring people are studying water. The most recent person that I've looked at, actually not the most recent, but I found her incredibly inspiring, is a lady called Veda Austin. You can look her up yourself. But for now, I'm going back to what I'm doing in the garden today. And I'm just talking you through exactly how I do this on a day-to-day basis, and especially during the seeding and growing season. So let me turn this camera the other way around. Okay, I have a book here which I have introduced before, but for those of you who don't know about it, it's Maria Tun's Biodynamic Calendar for this year 2026. Now, I use this book because it's probably the best book. Let me just lean it against something. It's easier for you to see. And I'm sitting down because of my knee before I get up. I'm using this calendar because this book explains a lot about how to grow food the biodynamic way. And these are all Rudolf Steiner's principles, but let's keep it simple for now. Let me explain to you what I'm doing now. And it's a slow learning curve for those of you who are interested. Others, you can go ahead and do your own research on the wonderful internet we've got and find out more. So today's Friday, the 8th of May, which is here, and it is a root day. Now, if I explain to you that the way planting works is that different types of plants are segregated into 4 different sections. So, for example, today's a root day, and that corresponds to the earth element. A fruit day, which is where you'd sow and deal and work with all fruit items in the garden. That could be peas or anything actually with seeds in, as well as your fruit trees and so on. That corresponds to fire, the fire of digestion, fire. Leaf day, which is shown here in green, is for all leaf type plants. So your cabbages, your lettuces, kale and the grass, for example, and certain herbs which you use for the leaves like thyme. And then that corresponds to water, the water element. And then flower days correspond to air element, and of course all things flower, including some vegetables like cauliflower and broccoli that come under the air element, represented by flower here. Okay, this is a lot more involved, but I'm just going through, for the sake of 15 minutes chat, I'm going through with what we're doing right what I'm doing right now today. Okay, so it's much easier for me to garden using lunar rhythms, is because my life is made much easier, and your life will be made much easier because, first of all, you're harnessing, let me turn this around, you're working with the laws of nature. So you've got nature, the cosmos, on your side to help the fruit and vegetable grow most dynamically and in alignment to nature's principles. And the energy of the air outside and the entire energetic state of outside is based on where we are in the cosmos right now. So for argument's sake, I know at the moment in a root day we are going through the constellation of, or about to go through the constellation of Capricorn. We're between Sagittarius and Capricorn. This is all part of this sidereal cycle. I'm boring you, where the moon goes through the constellations around the earth every 28 days, or 27 and a half, I think it is, or is it 29? Can't remember. Doesn't matter. It's just giving you the principle. So when you are gardening and sowing your fruit and vegetables, knowing that it's a root day is already 50% of the effort, because you're doing the right things on the right day to help the fruit or vegetable grow in its best way that it can energetically, and make sure that your energy is in alignment to that. Lots of love and light in your heart when you grow. So today's a root day, and the root day's just started. And I am going to be sowing more carrots. So this is how I do it. I know it's a root day. I've got my notebook. I write the date here, Friday, May the 8th. Now, just to remind, you don't have to do it this way. You can just throw a whole load of seeds in. That's absolutely fine too. I'm growing quite a few different fruits and vegetables, and I'm really interested in when they germinate, how they grow, and then I'd like to measure the success rate so that I know my land, I know the seeds that like the land, I know how they taste, I know the nourishment they give me, and I've got some kind of data to help me for next time. I think it's a good way of doing that. It makes you more conscious. You become more conscious about how you're growing food, and of course it means that the results are likely and more probable to be more successful. Okay, so it's Friday, May the 8th. It's a root day. It's an ascending moon. I'll explain more about that another time. It's also a waning moon, which means that it's going from a full to a new. The energy is coming out of the earth. Water energy is being pulled out of the earth during the 2 weeks of the waning moon, and the actual constellation we're going through is Sagittarius and Capricorn. This is quite important for me, but right now, just for explaining to you, it's a root day. Okay, so what I do is I look at what I want to sow, and I'm going to be putting carrots into containers because I had sown a lot of carrot seeds on the last root day straight into my raised bed, and it was cooler, and the soil was not very moist. So I've decided I'm going to put them in containers. I've prepared containers with compost, homemade compost, talk about that another time, and also just bought compost. And I've got 4 different types of carrots. I've got this one here, which is an heirloom carrot, French Touchon, early Nantes. And what I've done is I've got my little container, and I've put the seeds into the container and in water. Water's very, very important. I just want them to moisten, and so they'll germinate a little bit faster because the water will take on the seeds will put their energy and their blueprint into the water, without which they won't germinate. This is very important. Over here, I've got a basic, this is a commercial carrot. I've just got the seeds left, so I want to use them. I don't even know if they'll germinate, it's so old. So these are different type of carrot here with much longer kind of roots. These are organic carrots from Johnson's, which I've had for a while. again with long roots. And I've got another one here. I don't know what this one is. It's an Amsterdam forcing from Johnson's as well. So I've got them ready. Different seeds. I know exactly which ones they are. And then I've got a whole load of labels here. Now, what I've done in previous years, I actually, you know, labeled what they are, but I'm not going to keep buying new labels. So what I do now is, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm sowing these ones, the French Touchant, into a container. All I'll do, oh actually let's just do the Amsterdam forcing, which is this one here, okay? So I will write down carrots, Amsterdam forcing, Johnson's. I've referenced the old, the previous time that I sowed the carrots, which are here. And the reason I've referenced it is because I've written everything down about how to sow it, when the seedlings should germinate, and so on. I don't want to repeat writing the same thing. And then I'll have label, and then I'll see what the label says here. These are my old labels, carrot 4. This is very handy to write carrot and then 1, 2, 3, 4, rather than the actual type of carrot, because you could be growing any type of carrot in years to come. So I've got carrot 4, and then I'll put label equals, and I'll write down here carrot 4. Okay, so that's how I've referenced it, so I won't forget. And then of course I'll write down which container it's in, not that I need to, because it'll be labelled carrot 4. Okay, so I wanted to explain that to you. Now the next thing I want to show you, before I sow these seeds, you've got to prepare the containers. So let's go out into the garden, and I'll show you the containers I prepared this morning. I've got to walk slowly because of this knee operation that I've had, and I'm going to do a whole video series on this knee operation because it's very commonplace these days. People are going through knee replacement surgeries and all other different types of surgeries, and on the NHS it's next to impossible. Anyway, I don't want to digress. So let's just turn this around. Okay, you can see I've got these containers alongside the raised bed. Got my water on here. I was actually watering the compost heap, which is the most important thing to do and often forgotten, watering the heap. But let me turn it off now. Right, so I've got these containers. Now these containers actually had soil in from whatever I'd grown before. Don't throw that out. I just simply forked it all through. Just going to use this trowel for now. You can use a trowel, it doesn't matter. I'd forked it all through. I'd put some of my own homemade compost in, which is sitting here. I can talk about that another day. That's the fresh compost heap. That's the compost heap from now 2 years ago. This was all organic matter that you see here. And look at the beautiful soil it's created. So it's already dynamized with all of the organic matter that I use. Let me turn this around. The organic matter from my own garden, from my own food that I eat. So it's dynamized with my energy. And for me, because I always think energetically, unlearn everything you've learned before from your left brain, your thinking, reasoned mind. Most of it is nonsense. It doesn't make sense. This makes sense. So it's dynamized with my energy and the energy of the garden here. So it understands the garden, and I've put that into the container along with just a mainstream compost because I don't have enough. I also want it to be quite loose because it's carrots. So I want the roots to be able to grow straight down and germinate easily. And then I had watered this really heavily this morning before putting the compost in, and I'm going to water it again because the water is everything. Allow it to soak in, and then what I'll do is sow the seeds, and it'll be very, very easy. I'll just scatter, because the carrot seeds are very little and they're wet, so I've got to do it carefully, but I'll kind of scatter them around here thinly, because each one will germinate. So I don't know, some of them do, some of them don't, but I'll just gently scatter them around here and then just gently cover them with a little bit more compost. And then I will label it and I will leave it alone. Carrots in particular, and this is experience, they need moisture to germinate. You can't let them dry out. So I'll be particularly careful with the carrots. Onions, for example, they need heat to germinate. I threw my onion seeds into the ground here, but you know, I speak to them energetically. I'm willing them to grow, and it might be slow. They may not, but none of it matters because it's all a learning experience. Always remember that. It's learning experience. If the onions don't germinate in the main seed bed here, you'll know what I'm talking about if you've listened to my previous video that I put up 2 days ago, then it doesn't matter. I'll grow more next year. It's not the end of the world. Or I'll just go and get some onion sets from the garden centre if they're still there and pop them in, even though it's probably not what they say is the right time of year, but I just do my own thing. I've learned a lot from my sister-in-law who does exactly the same. She just grows things whenever she wants, and onions and carrots shouldn't be grown together, but she does, and she has success. It's all about your own personal energy. You make the choices. Understand, learn, but then follow your heart, okay? That's the key message in my on my channel. So much more I'm going to talk to you about. So that's today. A little bit about the different types of biodynamically, the different types of fruits and vegetables, leaf, fruit. So you've got the leaf, fruit, root, and I can't remember what the last one was, and they correspond to the different elements. Okay, so if you're interested, just grab a book. I would order that book, read it, learn something. It's just a basic introduction, and then it's not too late. It's May, it's still seed sowing time. There are some that you can't, but there's a lot that you can sow. So get on with it, and I'll be putting up videos every couple of days. And if you have any questions, then just pop them in the comments below and I'll answer them, because I am around most of the year here now. Okay, have a lovely day.